All right, welcome back to Surly Set of Six off the back of a great weekend down in Christchurch, a 38 points to 20 win over the Cowboys and what was just an elite atmosphere. Lucky enough to be down there, loved my time down in the O3 and even better to get the 2 points, much needed as well off the back of a loss into a bye and then another loss. The Warriors are back, we're still in second place. And everything just feels a little bit better about the world on a Monday once the Warriors get the win. Producer Henry, great to have you here, mate. Obviously not in studio today. We're recording this one quite late after I travelled back today. You had a fair bit of work on today with the All Blacks team naming as well. But how's things, bro? And what did you make of this Warriors result?
A strong performance. Much better performance, probably. I mean, the things that we talked about last week, sort of, they rectified quite well, actually, I thought. I mean, it wasn't a perfect performance. Great to be down in Christchurch. Like, I wasn't, but I mean the Warriors as a whole. I think it was a great atmosphere. Sounded good on the TV, looked good. I watched the pre-game show with Laura and Sean and stuff, and it looked buzzy. Not Laura, sorry, Kirsty was down there. But yeah, it just looked really cool. And I've been in that stadium as of you a couple times now, and it's an elite atmosphere when it's done right and when it's full. And it was no doubt very, very full on the weekend. But yeah, backed up with a good win. And like we said it earlier last week, it just needed to get the 2 points, really. Didn't really matter too much how it went, because Webby actually said post-match that he feels like they played better the last 2 weeks. And then they actually won this one. So, yeah, some talking points, but it's good to get the 2 points.
For sure. Let's rip into the first talking point, and that was that Christchurch crowd under the roof. The place was electric. The Kotahitanga jerseys looked amazing. There were so many of those in the crowd. Obviously, the old white polycottons they were getting about too. I thought the lads looked sick rocking up to the stadium in those. There was only a small crowd for the NRLW. That certainly grew throughout the day. By the time New South Wales Cup second half kicked off, the place was really starting to fill out. And then fans obviously had the hikoi down the main street, so they were making their way there. And then come 10 minutes before kickoff, the place was just electric. I know there's a lot of chat about a second NRL team, and certainly that stadium suits one. I think Christchurch would 100% get around it, but there's just so much support for the Warriors down there too that the dynamic would be really interesting. Yeah, it was just great to see the place. Like you said, we've been there for Super Round, I've been there for concerts, but we had a feeling Warriors fans were going to turn this up to the next level, and they certainly did that. Side note, our NRLW team is going to do some special things this year. That was their first hit out against a Broncos side where a lot of players had already played Origin. They've been playing local footy in Queensland as well. We were without Maire Martin, Stacey Waka, and a number of household other names. They had Southwell. They had a lot of their star players playing Brigginshaw, and we went with them toe-to-toe for the 80 minutes. A little bit of match fitness lacking there, but you expect that for the first hit out. But that NRLW team is going to be really special too. But yeah, this game was a celebration for Christchurch, and it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, 100%. Just quickly on the NRLW team, I'm a bit disappointed with the whole streaming thing and how it wasn't on Sky, because I went to go turn it on and went, why is it not on Sky? It's a triple header. The New South Wales Cup should be there. It should be everything there. It wasn't. Then got the stream up. The stream initially had some issues to start. So I only caught about 40 minutes of the game, but like you said, just strong signs. Like, to be that good in preseason, I know it wasn't a perfect performance, but to have a strong performance from a lot of players, get minutes in the legs against, like you said, a very good side, it's a positive start for the side, and hopefully they'll just get better and better as the season goes on. And when you add those names like Maire Martin and stuff back into the lineup, it's going to be a big season.
Yeah, for sure. Good to have the big dogs there, Andrew Abdo and Peter V'landys. They flew over on game day, stayed for the night, and then shot back. A couple meetings with the Warriors and with the powers that be in New Zealand sport and in Christchurch too. So, yeah, lots of things happening. It was great for them to see the effect the Warriors have had on the nation. Like, apparently V'landys was pretty shocked that the place was sold out, so I'm not sure how much attention he's been paying to the Warriors, because we sell out everywhere we go. But yeah, a great advertisement for the new stadium, for the game of rugby league in New Zealand, and for the Warriors as a whole. Fans really well behaved too. Just the one incident at the end there before the team song where It's pretty bizarre. Like a little 7, 8-year-old looking kid kind of ran onto the field as a streaker, and security tackled him, and then his dad jumped the fence because he wasn't happy with the treatment from security, and then the granddad came in to back up the dad as well. But you're always going to have isolated incidents like that. Apart from that, the crowd really well behaved. They rolled into town after. Everyone got around the merch stores. They did some great numbers there too. So yeah, Warriors fever certainly hit the 0-3, and I think the people really responded. A lot of people travelled over from Aussie too. A lot of Warriors fans that I recognise from Magic Round and things like that. So it was great to see. It had that kind of mini Magic Round type of vibe to it, and I think moving forward, that would be a really cool idea. I'm not sure if other clubs would be willing to come across and make it like a Friday, Saturday night doubleheader. You have the Warriors on the Saturday night, another NRL game the night before it on the Friday. I think that would be really sick, or even move the NRLW to the Friday night, then the Warriors on the Saturday, and you make it 2 nights of footy. Because, yeah, the city is hungry for more, and it's just, as we know, so set up for it, man.
We're big on this podcast of making double headers and nights where you can go to the same city and watch sporting events, and I think it's a no-brainer, really. Like, after Super Round, we talked about how they should just give it back there next year. It's the same with this, like, get a game there, whether you get multiple games there. I think they could do the triple header a bit better, whether they do it on the Friday night, the Saturday night. Like, I would go to an NRLW game, like isolated, especially a Warriors game, a big game against maybe the Broncos the night before, and I know Christchurch would. Just quickly on that before we move away from Christchurch, what are your initial thoughts on a Christchurch team? And after seeing the Warriors fans down in Christchurch, where are you at with it? Because I'm very torn of, I still think a lot of those Christchurch fans would convert to, let's say it's the Orcas or whatever it is, but there'd be a lot of fans that would just stay as Warriors fans. So it would make for an interesting sort of mix, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I want the Warriors to win it first, selfishly, before we get a second team in. I love the thought of a rivalry. We've seen what it's done in the football, in the A-League. Like, it's a cool aspect, and I think North versus South would be really cool. Speaking to a lot of Christchurch-based fans, though, they have basically said that Warriors will always be their number one team, and then they will get around this new team because it's local, it's playing there, and it'll be filled with a lot of Christchurch talent, so that will become their second team. I think the Warriors are too entrenched in people's hearts for a new franchise to come in and take over, because it's like Warriors fans are a different breed. It's not like the football fan in Auckland that was supporting the Phoenix, but then as soon as Auckland FC came in, they were like, shit, yeah, we've got a local team, let's get around that. Like, there's a particular amount of tribalism with Warriors fans that I think it'll find really hard to convert even Christchurch locals into their number one team, because like Warriors fandom runs through the blood of Kiwis, man.
I agree with you completely, and I know you've just compared it to not being like the football derby, but in a way that it is that do you feel like some of the Christchurch fans would be a bit like me, where I support the team that I have, like Auckland FC, but also when the South Island team or the Phoenix play against Australian teams, I want the Phoenix to win. Do you feel like it would be a bit of that?
Oh, and I feel like I would even be the same. Yeah, I would get around the second team as my second favourite team too, because they're Kiwis, right? And they're going to be full with a whole lot of Kiwi talent and potential current Warriors players that would move down there as well. So 100% they would become the second favourite team. And commercially, I'm sure it would still be justified. The stadium would sell out every week because Christchurch are just hungry for rugby league, right? So I think the club would make money and things like that in terms of commercial sponsors and all that type of stuff. Would be interesting to see if there's a demand for it down there to pay the big bucks, because it costs a lot of money to get a club up and running and then keep it up and running too. But I think it's semi-inevitable, with the big dogs over here seeing how big rugby league is here now and just the hype around the sport and the game here. I think it's only a matter of time before we get a second team. It's just whether it is in Christchurch or whether it's somewhere else around the country. But to me, Christchurch and that stadium kind of deserves one. And the biggest thing will be the pathways, right? Warriors have just signed a long-term deal with St Thomas, the best rugby league school in the country, and that's from Christchurch. So they've just blocked a major pathway for this new team coming in, which would make it interesting as well. But yeah, watch this space, I guess. It's a big talking point at the moment. I'm sure there's more to come over the next few months, years, however long it takes. My second tackle was our defense. I thought we gifted the Cowboys so many opportunities in really good field position, but our defense was still strong enough to turn them away. And yes, they scored some points. A lot of it, though, was Scott Drinkwater, just unreal playmaking from him. We had that disappointing moment where Chance and Tane didn't catch the 40-20. It looked like a bit of confusion between them. They kick the 40-20 and then they score off the back of that. But I thought for the majority of the game, even though we made errors that gifted a really good attacking team plenty of opportunities, we were good enough defensively to turn them away. And I thought our scramble was really good too. There are a couple one-on-one moments there, like when, I think it was Scott Drinkwater, got through one-on-one with Jacko Ford off the back of that intercept where he intercepted Wayde Egan's try, and Wayde Egan's pass, and he decided to try and go around Jacko Ford. Like, there's not many props that can bring a guy like Drinkwater to a standstill there. Then we had Tane on Purdue at one moment too, one-on-one, and then of course you had Maire Martin holding up Purdue in the in-goal as well. I think our only weakness defensively was a couple of reads from our centres, but I feel so confident watching our team defend this year. It's something that we've mentioned multiple times, but that Cowboys team was stacked with threats. They love a fast game. They love to play attacking footy, and I thought for the majority of the match, we turned them away at times where other teams would have conceded points because of just how dangerous they are.
Yeah, I agree. Desperation's a good word for that, because I felt the effort was there. I think there was some, like you said, there's a couple reads there where you're like, that's not a great decision. And a lot of people will be quick to go to Chance Nickel-Clockstead and go, well, he scored 4 tries, but he also conceded 4, or something like that along those lines. And I think you've got to really put it into perspective is when you lose players like Jackson Ford, where the Wayde Egan goes down with a little bit of an ankle injury. You lose players like that, and then defensively you make some good reads. We've talked about next man up and about how they move around, they shift around, players playing out of position. And I think, yeah, like you said, there'll be moments there that they won't be happy with, but there's enough there to make you think that defensively that was a main reason why we won the game. I think it was a great performance defensively, but like you said, it's never going to be perfect. And when they've got threats like Scott Drinkwater and other players who looked very dangerous at times in that game, like to be able to keep them relatively quiet and only to 20 points is still something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too, like, there's a lot of new combinations there, man. There's second rows that have never played with their centre and have never played with their winger. And I think at times our centres got a little bit exposed, making potentially the wrong defensive decisions. But it's the amount of fight that we show and our willingness to get back off breaks and work hard for each other that makes me feel like no one's going to get anything easy against us, which fills me with confidence because that's the stuff that shows up at the back end. Like, you can work on combinations, you can work on systems, and let's be honest, the combinations that we're talking about probably aren't the ones that are going to be there when we're at full health as well. So, yep, not 100% perfect defensively, but I think we are still seeing evidence every week of our goal line defence in particular really stacking up and just that scramble and that want to work, which makes me happy as a Warriors fan. My tackle 3, I wanted to highlight the playmaking of Maire Martin. I thought he had a great game. He took home the Mahi Dog Award for Internal Player of the Day, and I think he deserved it too. At a time where, in a week where he came under a fair bit of scrutiny, right? Like, his short kicking game or his kicking game in general was a real talking point. The lack of coming into this game, there was a lot of chat around Luke Metcalf being named on the bench. Does he come in and start? Does Tamari move to the bench late? But I thought T really stood up in this game and answered some critics. That play and holding up Jackson Purdue was a massive moment. 27 minutes to go, 20 points to 10. If they score there and make it 20 points to 16, the game could go either way. Off the back of holding him up, Taumalolo gets bin that next set, we roll down the field and score. It was a massive counter-punch, but for me it was his playmaking that really stood out, and it's his ability to dig deep into the line on our attacking shapes. He engages defenders, he can draw out defensive mistakes from the opposition, and then you combine that with the elite line running of Jacob Laban and the combination that those two are forming when Tamari sweeps around to the left side. That led to so many of our tries. And if you go back and watch all 4 of our first half tries, the Warriors' left edge clearly wanted to target Jake Clifford's channel, isolate that combo between Clifford, Lukey, and Chester, and we used 2 attacking shapes that the Warriors use fairly frequently in order to do so, but that shape only works when everyone's executing their roles properly. And our first try, Maire Martin gets into that exact channel He engages both players in the channel. Jacob Laban runs a beautiful down line on Clifford's outside shoulder. Maire Martin plays out the back of him. 3-on-2. In goes Chance Nickel clock start. Our second try, great shape. Clark goes hard at the line. Jacko Ford runs a beautiful down line that ties up a couple defenders. Maire gets the ball from Clark, plays it out the back. Clifford is so spooked that he comes out higher. He comes out of the line to try and shut it down. He's got a front door option with Laban, who again is running down into that Chester and Clifford channel. He gets chopped down by the legs. A great tackle from Scotty Drinkwater. We get a quick play the ball, and Wayde Egan rips a beautiful seed. And in goes Chance for his second. Our third try, a shape we see a fair bit from the Warriors. We have a prop running a decoy line close to the ruck. The pass goes in front of them to Maire Martin. The second prop then comes on a cut line as an option, which actually would have worked on this occasion too, because when you watch the replay, Lukey overchased on him because he was so worried about the running threat of Maire Martin. So the cut would have actually put Demi into a hole, but instead he has Jacob running that down line off him. Again, he goes straight at Clifford. He ties up multiple defenders there, plays it out the back to Chanel Harris-Tavita. Again, a 3-on-2. This time CHT throws a cutout pass, and Chance has a first half hat-trick. A fourth try, we work down the field. Tackle 3, Maire Martin recognises a mismatch down the short side. Gets himself one-on-one with Jason Taumalolo, and it's funny because this is exactly, almost the exact picture where Maire skinned Moses Leota to put Taintua Piki over against the Panthers. Again, short side, one-on-one with a prop. This time he gasses Taumalolo on the outside. Murray Taulangi recognises that, jams in. T throws a beautiful cutout ball. Dell goes away down the right-hand side, bumps off Scotty Drinkwater, gets tackled. 2 tackles later, T gets the ball. We run the same shape that we ran for that previous try. So a prop. The pass goes in front of him to Tamaire. We have a prop again on a down line, or on a cut line, coming through to hold up defenders. Instead, though, T goes out the back to CHT this time, but if you watch his eyes, the deception that he uses with his eyes engages enough defenders there to free up space. And then in the end, we have another overlap. Winger jams. Chance has 4 tries. A 5th try, Maire Martin holding up Purdue. Off the back of that, we roll down, and then in goes Dell in the corner for that one as well. Tamaire actually bounces in front of 5 or 6 would-be defenders, so he's gone held up into then setting up Dallin for a try. Our 6th try, Tamaire puts up a beautiful nudge. Tane probably knocks it on. I was surprised the bunker gave that one. Adam Pompey the beneficiary. Like 6 of the 7 tries we scored, Tamaire had his hands all over it. Some great line running and execution from that left edge. But I just wanted to highlight the kind of day he had, because he ends the day with 2 try assists. But really, if you break it down, he had 6 of the 7 he played a massive role in. And it's just his ability to manipulate defences, to play so deep into the line. Like, opposition teams don't know what he's going to do. And when you partner him up with a guy like a Jacob Laban, who now has become an elite line runner and is really rounding out his game, it is so hard for defenders to decide what decision they're going to make and make it the correct one when you've got multiple variations that can cook teams and guys just executing their role perfectly. It's really simple, but it's beautiful to watch.
Love that breakdown, bro. Like, I 100% agree. And I don't think people appreciate the variation and actually the times that Tamaire fails, like not fails, but the time that actually he takes on the line, gets tackled, and then they swing next. And then next time they come right, the defenders actually have to shut because they're when he puts the same goosey on, they're expecting him to run. And then that's when he digs into the line, fires it up the back, and then there's an overlap because those defenders have gone in to make that tackle that they forced him to make the last time. So I think it's actually really important that people understand that everything happens for a reason in that zone. And you just explained it for the 7 tries, how 6 of them came off different variations and different options on each of our variations. So I think it's a skill. Like, it's a skill to have that knowledge. And I know Sean's talked about it a little bit about how not everything's going to work, but it all happens for a reason. And I think that it's just great. It's a great knock on him to be able to look at those 7 tries and go, wow, a lot of those were to do with his playmaking. And I mean, he racked up the fantasy points too. That's always a good sign. And yeah, no, he was just outstanding, I thought.
Yeah, his willingness to get hit is a real underrated feature of his game. He's not afraid to take contact, whether he's digging deep into the line and passing, or like you said, just running the ball and showing a different picture to then come back to that picture 2 or 3 sets later and skin them. He's a pretty brave bloke, eh? Like defensively, he hits hard too, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line. But I just wanted to shout out to Maire. I thought he had potentially a tough week and a little bit of pressure coming into that game, but shit did he stand up, and I thought he had his hands all over basically everything in this game. He was outstanding. My tackle for some standouts, obviously our back three. I think Tane, like each week he just goes to another level, it seems like. Every game he has at least one massive kick return that turns momentum back in our favour, and it must be so nice for our forwards. Like you're used to working back by tackle 3, tackle 4, late in the game you're just getting back on side. When Tane has these carries, these guys are back in the picture for tackle 2, tackle 3, and it just gives our set so much momentum. He's so elusive, 218 run meters, a try, 10 tackle breaks and 2 line breaks. He's a tough fella too, and there's multiple times in the game where you think he's going to go off. He often gets up from carries looking really damn ginger, and we were messaging during the game. I thought that he was going to go off with a knee injury at some stage there. Turns out he's going to be fine, and he pushed on through. We're going to need him against the Finns. We need his attacking flair, but it's not just the flashy stuff he's doing. He does the tough stuff really well now too, and he is becoming a really well-rounded but still X-factor fullback for us that makes our attack look a whole lot different.
Yeah, he adds another sort of dimension to our attack, knowing that he can create something off a little 1-2, little left foot step or a goosey, or just even floating in and around the ruck with Wayde Egan. You feel like he might create something. I think the big thing with him is that his defense has come a long way also. Like, he's a small body. He's not, like, when people run at him, he's not exactly, he shouldn't really be making as many tackles as he does. I think he'll be disappointed, and he was kind of nursing that injury when he went down, and actually I think it was one of Drinkwater's try, where he fended off Jacob Laban, I think, and then he went under, and actually Tane didn't get across quick enough. Obviously, it's really difficult when you're in and around the ruck on one side of the field, and then they switch right, and how the Cowboys were attacking it was quite hard to get across. But he was sort of nursing that knee injury, and I feel like he could have maybe done a little bit better there. This is very much nitpicking a performance defensively, but I think he's come a long way, and just this communication is key now for this team. I think with Chance, he would have learned a lot over the last couple of years being behind Chance. So it's cool to see that. But I think it's a massive credit to him that Webby talks about in the post-game and pre-game as well, that his first thing to say about Tane is, Tane's been going really well, we don't want to change it. Like when Chance has gone to the wing. Like, I think that's a really big credit to him, and he's going well, so you can't really fault it, really.
No, and it seems like those two have a great dynamic together. Like they've mentioned, well, Tane's mentioned multiple times he's one of his best mates in his team, and they just push each other because they both want to wear the one jersey, but they're both team men. And I think Chance's performance on the weekend showed that too, right? Like 4 tries, he was busy from yardage. He's so versatile. Like, he obviously wants to wear the fullback jersey, but while Tane is playing like this, then that's not going to happen. He's popped up in the centres, he's popped up at 6, he's popped up on the wing, and that takes a fair bit of class to do. 187 run meters he finished with, and I thought Dell on the other wing was great again, and I feel like I pump him up every pod because he does the things that I love seeing from a player like Dell. Like, yes, he has those acrobatic finishes that everyone falls in love with, but his yardage carries again in this game. Like, that bloke has zero regard for his body. I would love to just feel how he feels the day after a game, just to know how battered and bruised he would be. He had the stitches. I believe they were saying about 40 to 50 stitches in his eye. That's how gnarly that gash was. Got those and then straight on the plane. Made the plane by about 10 minutes. The bloke is as tough as shit, man. And every week he turns up and he does the hard stuff that earns so much respect from his teammates. And it's great to see now Aussie Journo's reporting that he could well be extended, because at the start of the year, there was talks about mutual option and he would do whatever was best for the club and head off back to Australia or whoever wanted him, really. But his form this year has been outstanding, and it looks like he is going to re-sign. Really interesting dynamic with the wingers next year and how they go with Warbrick coming. A lot of people saying maybe they could turn him into a centre, which I could see happening too. But if Dell does get re-signed, I think it's a testament to how good he's been this year, and it's great to see the public perception of him back to being a really popular player too, because shit, he works his ass off.
Yeah, he does. He hasn't dropped off, and that's what you see a lot of people at that sort of age. I mean, that gash on his eye was incredible. Like, if you haven't seen Sean Johnson's video on League Lounge, go and have a look at it. And it was a live reaction of what Dallin reacting to what he didn't realize it was that bad. Nasty, but yeah, he works hard. You can never fault his effort, despite going down with these massive heads where we get a penalty and looks like he gets shot in the head. But I love the work rate, and like I said earlier, like, you can't fault how he hasn't got worse. Like, you see a lot of players at that age, especially wingers at clubs, you've got these flashy new young guys that could easily take your place, whereas he just hasn't lost any of it. And I think he's had maybe a better year, like specific things in his game than he did last year. So it's impressive.
100%. Wayde Egan, we've already highlighted to Maire Martin. I thought Chanel was great as well, but Wayde, like, this guy is insane, man. And if Laurie Daly had half a clue, he would have him in that Origin team, because this guy's playmaking ability, 63 minutes in this game, he was in the wars yet again, but I think he's the best playmaking hooker in the competition at the moment, which is saying a lot because there are so many good hookers out there. And for me, he's been top 3 in terms of playmaking for the last couple of years, but he's gone to almost another level yet again. He's an all-round threat on attack. His running game, his passing, his ability to play people into space. Defensively, he's right in the mixer too. That pass for Chan's second try was a thing of pure beauty. That was just eyes up, identified a mismatch, but then to have the skill set to be able to rip a pass like that from that type of body position really isn't easy. Then go back and watch that replay for, which one was it? He played Tane into a beautiful hole for his try as well. If you watch that replay, it's a great carry from Demi that leaves the Cowboys potential marker behind the play the ball. Straight away that sets off alarm bells when Wade's at hooker, because as soon as there's only one marker and a body behind the play the ball, he is 100% going to carve you up. He scoots off to the right. He gets outside Murray Taulagi, who was the only marker back. And then you watch his eyes. He's just looking straight at the gap between Murray Taulagi and Griffin Neame, which forces Griffin Neame to jam straight in, because it looks like Wade's going to run and he's going to try go through that gap, and then just silky as anything, no look pass straight to Tane, who flies through that gap. The bloke is just insane. He had that line break, and unfortunately that pass got intercepted by Drinkwater, but 2 try assists, 8 dummy half runs, 2 line break assists, 24 tackles, 2 missed. I thought the CEO of ruck manipulation was all over it in this game, and when you combine him with someone like a Timari and a Tane, it is scary for other teams, man, because there's multiple points of attack, and as soon as there's a quick ruck, it's like, see you later.
He's class. He's all class. And Webby, after the game, said that, I can't remember what he said. He said something about how he's sort of found his voice while Fish has been out, and that's cool to see also. If Laurie Daly, like you said, if he had any clue, Apisai Coruscant's no joke. Like, he's a good player, and we're not sort of saying that he's not the right option. It's just, like, his passes, like, he always dives left. And I actually saw Macca, who came on, sort of did the old fake left and then go right. And I was like, well, that's someone who's been watching Wayde Egan and playing alongside him for a wee while. So that was cool to see. But yeah, he's a strong player. He's a very strong player, always in the wars. Always. I'm always worried every time he goes into a tackle. But yeah, he's one of our best.
For sure. Tanner Smith, what a homecoming for him. And he is a guy whose season just continues to go to another level. Off the bench in this one, which I still think is his best role, but he's proven he can start. His performances over the last few weeks have been great too. Listen to these numbers in 46 minutes. 180 run meters, 67 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, and 32 tackles. He's only just turned 22 earlier this year. To punch out that in 46 minutes, and just his impact, his ability to get dominant carries when it doesn't look like anything's on. He's fearless. He's got an attacking mindset. He goes after people. He looks like he is a 5 to 6 year veteran. The potential in this guy's level and where he could get to is so damn scary. He has become a huge part of this team, where last year he was fighting for a bench role.
His output's crazy. Like, I love what he brings, whether he's off the bench, whether he's starting. Like, it doesn't matter. it's an interesting build that he's got. It's almost like Fish, eh? Like he's big. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to tackle him at all, but he's not like this massive guy, tall as, and you get the sense that that's how he wins his battles. He's kind of just like all effort, strong as ever, but just powerful in the tackle, gets the legs moving. But yeah, I've been really impressed with him, and it's kind of cool to see someone from Christchurch play in Christchurch and actually win. Like, I don't know how many of those have been, so it's a good performance, and he was definitely impressive.
Yeah, you could tell that one meant a lot to him and Macca. They were both up for it, and they were both stoked to get the result in front of friends and family and get a big Waz win down at that stadium. I thought Laban and Aaron Clark were really good, kind of spoken on them a little bit already, and I think Mitch coming back was just massive for this team. 61 minutes, 191 run meters, 73 PCMs, 28 tackles. Apparently he gave one of the great pre-game rev-up speeches too. He was still fired up from Origin. He was stoked to be back. It had been 5 weeks since he'd worn a Warriors jersey, not since Magic Round. He wasn't happy to not playing after backing up from game one. He wanted to really back up, and yeah, apparently he rocked up with an attitude that losing was not an option and really set the tone early doors. And I think at certain times in this game when it got close, I think his leadership would have really shone out. So great to have Mitch back, especially while Fish isn't there. I think it helped our bench rotation so much as well.
Yeah, it sort of smoothed everything out a little bit. We talked about it last week that it just didn't seem right without him, and it felt so good. It was like, oh, we got Mitch Barnett. Like it was a bit of a calming influence on not only the players and the coaches, but the fans at home as well. You just got the sense that, oh, Mitch has got the ball, and he did back-to-back carries. He was strong defensively, some good hits. It's good to see him get through a game and be fine and be in the post-match press conference. That's always a good sign. But yeah, he's impressive once again, and I think it's kind of important. We kind of want Laurie Daly to not pick him. I don't want him to pick him, and I don't want him to pick Wayde Egan either, because like we know we want them to play Origin and get these incredible opportunities. But man, I want them. I want them in the next couple of weeks.
Tackle 5, my point was just freedom on attack. We mentioned how fast the track was going to be, and that if we could get rolling through the middle, then we do have X Factor still in this side that can burn teams. I thought against the Sharks we compressed, and we spoke about that, and at times it looked like we were a little bit afraid to fire some shots. I thought this week was the complete opposite, and I think this is where we look our most dangerous. Like when you look at the points in which we scored around the paddock. Obviously, Chance's edge was where we scored a whole lot, but they were created by opportunities through the middle and through great shape and using the ball. And obviously, the stadium and the conditions allowed that, but I think this was a really good attacking display from us against a team that is known for their attack and their all-out attack. They have threats all across the park, and so often they just tire teams out by playing razzle-dazzle footy, but I thought our attack looked really refreshed and energetic, and everyone was executing their roles pretty much perfectly. Tane, Tamaire, Wade, pulling the strings great as well. But this week, I kind of had that feeling back that, geez, we can outscore teams 100%. And we know defensively that we can get the job done. But it was nice to just put a score on and be like, shit, we played some good attacking footy today.
Yeah, the boys seem motivated to actually put on a better attacking performance than we have seen in last week's. Not that it's been awful, but we just haven't been as free-flowing as we would have liked. And under the roof, there was no needed for more motivation to be able to play some enjoyable sort of front foot footy. So that was good to see. I like the variation, buzzword on this podcast today, but we just seemed like we had more options. The fifth play options were a little bit more like microscope, like we knew exactly what we were going to do, and we executed it much better with a bit more pace, a bit more power, a bit more aggressiveness, like in the running meters. And yeah, I thought the boys were impressive in that way.
Last tackle was the importance of our leaders, and I think this game was so important to get the job done. Heading over to Suncorp to take on a Finns team that actually haven't lost since they lost to us on Anzac Day down in Wellington. They are on a heck of a streak, 7 games straight, and I think going into this 0-3 would have made this trip so important and really worrying as a Warriors fan. But I think as the game got close, and there was that 10-all period there where I thought, shit, we've got a game on here. First few minutes, I thought we were going to smoke them. Then they got back in the wrestle and I got a little bit worried. Then at 20 points to 10, when I thought Purdue had scored, I got a little bit worried again. But I feel like our leaders really stood up and ensured that everyone stayed on the same path and we got the result. I think as well, like shout out to our young lads. You can see them becoming leaders too. Like Demi is very vocal, but you can see guys like Jacob Laban and that piping up too. And it's a testament to the culture and that everyone has a voice and the ability to lead. But I just think this team at the moment, like, despite us being nervous, they seem really sure of themselves and what their best footy looks like. And you alluded to it before, Webby saying that there were times where they played some good footy there, but he felt like the other two games they'd actually played some better games. Once it all clicks, it is going to be really scary. It was just so important for me to get that 2 points on the weekend. It would have been a massive downer if we'd gone to Christchurch and hadn't come away with the win, but also in terms of how the season rolls out from here, I think going into this Dolphins game, knowing that we got last week, when you look at that Finns team, they rested Isaiah Katoa and still got the win. They're going to be up for this one. It's going to be a great test for us, but I'm just so grateful that we got the job done down in the O3, and I'm not sure if we didn't have a Mitch or someone like that, whether we would have actually got, and it'll be great to have Capes back this week too. Like, we've got bodies coming back too, so that one for me was a danger game, especially with those in-game injuries, losing Jacko and then Marata. You can see it fall apart from there, but we did the opposite. We still kicked on and got the job done.
Yeah, agree, but I think the leadership from top to bottom, from the club, from Cam George all the way down to, let's say, a Demi, is very good, and then down to the NRLW, not down, but you know what I mean, and then to also the New South Wales Cup team. Like, it's just good leaders. Everyone's assured of their role, and we're going to get players back. I mean, I was worried during the game, and I texted you. I said, we're in big trouble here if this Ford injury is massive. This was at the same time that Tane and Wayde Egan were also sort of half down, clutching at their ankles and hamstrings. So I was a bit nervous, and I thought we actually could be in big trouble of our whole season derailing in this game. And I know that's quite a dramatic an output on the game, but it could have been. Like, if you think if we've lost Tane, if we lose Jackson Ford, which apparently it's not as bad as maybe first expected, but like if we had lost those players, I mean, we were looking at a completely different 17 next week. So I'm glad that sort of the leaders stood up and we got the job done.
Yeah, it would have been panic stations for sure. I was like, he saw Jacko in the sheds after and he didn't have a sling on and he said that it was actually feeling quite good. So I think he was going for scans, but they were pretty hopeful that, look, it might not be this week, but maybe he sits out this week and then comes back after the bye. We'll have to wait and see on that one. A light training week for the lads this week. They head over to Brisbane on Thursday, I believe. They travel back straight after the game, but they would have had Monday off for recovery. So they'll probably only get one proper field session in before a captain's run, maybe 2 field sessions. So a lighter week for the boys, but they wanted to get back so that they could start that process a day earlier. Massive trip to Suncorp. I'm kind of glad they're going over early too. They're obviously taking this one really seriously before the bye, as you'd expect. So yeah, Saturday, 5 p.m, great time slot too for a Warriors game, especially Suncorp. It'll be warm, no doubt, hopefully, but that place will be packed with Warriors fans, and that game is going to be, again, another great indication as to where we're at after, this will be round 18, right? So 18 rounds into the season. A great time to get another kind of idea as to how you're tracking against one of the hottest sides in the competition.
Yeah, it's a doozy, and we got to buy the week after that, which I think is crucial as well. To be a big 2-week period, a lot of travel, not many training sessions, so hopefully get through that one, obviously with a win, but if not, at least it's the bye. We can get some maybe bodies back as well and refresh for the last run before the season. But it's promising. It's promising. All things have gone well, despite having some setbacks. Like, not everyone's been fit all year. We've had some average performances, some average decisions not go our way, although we did have one go our way definitely on the weekend. We have to point that out for the people that will be in the comments saying we don't talk about the rest when it goes well for us. But yeah, no, it's a good sign.
For sure. Well, bring it on. It's going to be an unreal weekend this weekend. Shout out to the Warriors fans. If you travelled down there, we banked the 2 points. It's great to be back in the winner's circle. Bring on the Finns. Up the mighty Warriors. How good.